This is Matt from MGMT Boston, here on this episode of The Lantern with one of my favorites, Simon Taylor, the founder and CEO of HYCU. Simon, big start to the year, 2026. What are you and your team building here at HYCU?
Oh my gosh, Matt. Well, first of all, thanks for coming back into the HYCU office. For those of you who don't know, Simon Taylor, CEO and founder of HYCU, which stands for Hybrid Cloud Uptime. We've always been the world's #1 leader in SaaS data protection. I am thrilled to announce that we are moving and evolving and revolving, and we are now HYCU, the world's #1 leader in AI resiliency. And the way that we are going about that, this is not just a marketing splend for us. What we're actually doing is we're dropping a brand new platform called HYCU aiR, which stands for AI resiliency. And what HYCU aiR is going to do is going to let you read all of your data protection, every backup in your company. Think about backing up Salesforce and Workday and Jira and Office 365. And now you apply a knowledge graph on top of it, a context engine on top of that, and an LLM. And suddenly you personify, you wake up those backups and you bring them to life. And you know what you can do once you add AI to that backup data is absolutely incredible. I want you to imagine, for example, Matt, that you are sitting at a table and there's a security camera hanging over it and it's watching us right now. And there's some security guard in the back room and he understands what's happening in real time. But what he doesn't know, if he doesn't have recordings from the past, is what happened in these two seats an hour ago, a month ago, a year ago. He loses the context and that security tape becomes relatively unvaluable. But with backup data, we can go back in time. We can see every snapshot of every piece of this company's history. And we can understand what employees are doing, what people are working for the company, and those who are working against it. So we believe this is an absolute watershed moment in the world of cybersecurity, and it all comes part and parcel of the HYCU platform.
Congrats. That's not just a product update. I think that's a whole platform up leveling. So a lot has gone into that from a product and engineering perspective, go-to-market perspective. Tell us about what you've been working on this year to sort of get to this point, and then what we should expect looking ahead.
Well, it's been monumental. As you remember, I think we announced it right here on your show, which was the big Dell relationship. We were added to the Dell price book, and that relationship has gone gangbusters. I was just in Minneapolis presenting with the Dell team to about 150 clients and partners, and we were talking about the fact that with AI, cyber resiliency has been more challenging than ever. In the old days, you had an attacker, a cyber terrorist, and they were trying to go after your company. But today with AI, it's almost like you've got a whole bunch of androids coming after you at machine speed. So the complexity of those agents attacking, the speed with which they're able to attack you, and the intelligence they're able to attack you with creates a lot of complexities for companies.
Right.
And as the AI resilience company, our goal is to stop those bad actors in their tracks, push the agent back before the time when it created the action, and roll you back to safety through our backup and recovery products. I think that's why we grew about 170% in Q4.
Wow.
That's why we continue to grow incredibly fast this quarter, and why I think this is going to be the best year ever for HYCU, for our team, and for our customers and partners.
And for other company builders listening in Boston, around the world, other up and coming founders, like what's something you've learned from this moment, this AIification of everything that you would pass back to builders?
You know, the #1 thing is don't wait and do it yourself.
Sure.
You know, there's always going to be the more forward thinking prime movers, shakers, and adopters. You're going to have laggards. There's always going to be that bell curve in your organization where somebody says, hey, I'm a little bit more conservative. I'm a little worried about this AI thing. I don't really want to adopt. You know, my first principle around AI has been to be leading from the front. So, you know, if somebody walks into a meeting and I see that they've spent all night on a PowerPoint that could have been done with Claude, I will sit down with them and I will actually help them build a project in Claude that will then automate that process for them. Ultimately, they have to make that shift because everyone in the world has to make that shift to protect them, to protect their credibility and protect their careers. But I want to be a mentor and an advisor to folks, even in my own company, so we can help them make that big leap. I think the second thing is your executive team has got to buy in, and you've got to have real metrics that are going to drive AI adoption. I think it's all well and good to say AI, and to launch a wonderful new AI platform. But at the end of the day, if you don't know what you're driving for, whether that is the rate at which you are pushing out code, the rate at which you are building new campaigns, we did an entire rebrand, which we're going to be launching. And that rebrand is entirely defined by AI. We would never have been able to do it in the time with the budget that we used, et cetera, in a pre-AI world. But that leadership has to come from the executive team down. And I have to applaud my executive team because they've really gotten behind these initiatives. And we're seeing just a massive, massive amount of wins as a result.
Love it. And last but not least, HYCU on an absolute tear, which we love to see. How can we help you grow? How can we help HYCU grow in Boston and beyond?
Let's just keep doing more of this because I think, obviously I've gotten involved with Build 617 with Nathan Spielberg. You've been involved with Build 617 as well. There's the Mass AI Coalition, which we're now involved in. I believe that Massachusetts and Boston in particular really does have the capacity for the first time to overturn Silicon Valley as the leader in AI adoption, AI technology. Because frankly, we've got more AI engineers coming out of our schools than everywhere else in the world. In the past, they've run off to Silicon Valley for fundraising and funding. But with AI, not everybody's fundraising. Not everyone going after that big first check. And I think if you want to start a company in the AI world, there's nowhere better than the city of Boston to do it. And I think the rising tide lifts all ships. I think that's what we're going to see here as well.
And we will support you. This is Simon Taylor from HYCU, Matt from MGMT Boston on this episode of Lantern. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Matt. Great to be here.